Thank you, Perry. Welcome, everyone. We are glad to have you this evening for our Computer Science at Carthage info session. We wish that we were able to welcome you in person and on campus, but until then, we're glad that you can join us for this virtual event. Tonight, we want to share with you more about the Computer Science program at Carthage. For those of you who are new to webinar, you are able to ask questions through the chat feature, which is located at either the top or the bottom of your screen. It does vary with computer. There is the public chat feature, and then there's also the private Q&A section as well. At the end of the event, we will open it up for these questions and address them to the group. This presentation will be available for viewing after tonight's event. We will have it on our website if you wish to review it later, or also to share with other family members or friends. But I would like to introduce Dr. Perry Kivolowitz, our computer science professor at Carthage. And so I'm going to allow him to introduce himself, and he will be sharing, what you can do with a computer science degree at Carthage. But thank you, everyone, for joining us. We're glad you're here this evening.
Hi, everybody. My name is Perry Kivolowitz. I'm the chair of computer science at Carthage College. And talking to prospective students is far and away my favorite thing about my job. And part of that reasons for that is I get to share my boundless enthusiasm for the field. It's an awesome field. And I get to share with you the great story about Carthage College. So I have a presentation which is probably, might think on the short side, but then we'll have ample opportunity for questions, and I hope you have lots of good ones. I think that partly an explanation for why it might be on the short side is because we have such a great story to tell. It tells itself. So allow me to share my screen, which I'll do now. And I'll push present. And here we go. So what I'm going to talk to you about is a little bit about computer science, and then computer science at Carthage. We'll talk about our program, about the faculty here, terrific faculty, and then we'll say another couple of things about computer science itself, and then we'll be able to take your questions. So one of the first things I want to talk about computer science is it's an incredible thrill to be a practitioner in this field. The kinds of problems that we work on are really, really cool. They're topical, they're current, they impact human existence all over the planet, whether it be front ends for the websites that people depend upon, or perhaps the hardware that gets implanted in our bodies as medical equipment that people depend upon. Practitioners of computer science, programmers, for example, enjoy a huge amount of self-determination. How you go about solving problems is up to you. And the care that you take and the pride that you take in your work leads to a really, really fulfilling experience when it works, and you know that the code is solid and the product is safe and dependable. Even in this era, I'm speaking to you from my home, there's the strong, big potential to work at home and work anywhere around the world in computer science. And as we'll see in a moment, the field it pays very well, and there are a lot of jobs. So the job outlook, I don't think it can be said that there is a downward trend or a negative outlook on jobs in computer science. It's only up, up, up. Now, the numbers you see here, I was able to get drilled down to a very fine granularity for the Chicago metropolitan area, the Milwaukee metropolitan area, and the Minneapolis metropolitan area. And the three titles you see there, computer programmer, software developer, and web developer. So you see that in each of these areas, The median and the mean are north of $80,000, potentially north of $100,000. And this is May 2019 Bureau of Labor Statistics numbers. I'd like to take a second and talk about first-generation students. I'm a first-generation college student. As you can see, those are my grandparents on screen, and that's their business. They were business folks. They sold fruits and vegetables. My dad did not go to college. He was part of the generation that went through Great Depression and fought World War II. And then there's me. I went to college, and oh, you see me there with my obligatory Professor Graybeard, which I shaved just for the quarantine. And there's a little piece of metalwork in front of me that is an actual Emmy Award from the Television Academy, granted to me this year for technology that I've developed. And I'm going to say this again a little later, but one of the coolest things about computer science is that when you sit in your chair in Computer Science 101, you have no idea where that field can take you. I had no idea. I sat in the same chair that you will next year. I sat in the very same chair, and I had no idea that I would have a 35-year career in Hollywood doing technology for visual effects for motion pictures and television. Right. So the computer science program at Carthage is really special. And let me tell you what we're all about, and that's in that first point there. We emphasize pride in craft and excellence in craft. So who are craft people that I'm comparing to? I'm comparing to poets and composers and sculptors and painters. We are all involved in starting with nothing in the physical world, and by strength of our minds and our will to create something beautiful, we create something beautiful. We create software and technology that has the power to change the world. And our emphasis here is that you really love what you do, and that you're great at doing it. We're very hands-on. Our courses are project intensive. And when you graduate with a CS degree from Carthage, you can really hit the ground running in the workforce. We're well known for that. Employers compliment us. I call it a compliment when they say that we prefer graduates of Carthage College over some nearby colleges because our students can hit the ground running. The post-Carthage outcomes have been terrific, and we've got this fantastic new resource, the Aspire Center, and the computer science department has its very own career specialist who's a terrific professional. And another thing about the program here at Carthage is we, the faculty, I'll just pat myself on the back, but we are super available. And in fact, with the way that the distance learning at a distance has been working out, we're even more available because it doesn't matter time or day. You know, we can hop online and work with students one-on-one or in small groups at any time. We don't have to be in the office or on campus. And I've been doing a lot more personal student contact now than even when we were in person. Okay? Now, our faculty also take the role of developing a personal relationship with students very seriously. And we are able to act as mentors, and we're able to act as advisors in the best sense of the word advisor. It's not the person that you go to simply to have your courses boxes ticked off on your course sheet. No, we actually spend time and talk and get to know the person and do give advice. We have a great culture in the computer science program. We do something that we call our barbecue, weekly barbecue, and we're, frankly, I believe that we're alone on campus in doing this. But every week, it has been on Thursday nights, but that's a detail, it could change. Every week, we invite all students taking any computer science class to come together. We don't actually serve barbecue, but we do serve pizza. And you come together for the community, for developing the relationships that will be your first line of support when you graduate and go into the field. And of course, to work together on your projects. And also, faculty come to this as well, and you're able to get one-on-one consulting in these evening hours. And here's some pictures. This is a picture of our graduates last year. And finally, a picture of the first hackathon that we hosted on campus. And this was in October, there was this academic year. And if you don't know about hackathons, they are a 24-hour period. In this case, it was a 12-hour period where you come and you start out with, just like I said before, it's amazing. You come with no idea at all what you're going to build. And by the strength of your will and the skills that you bring to the table and the skills that your partners bring to the table, in 12 hours, you've developed something. So hackathons are an awful lot of fun. Something else that's a bit unusual about the computer science program at Carthage is who make up our faculty. All of our full-time CS faculty, of which there are 3, including myself, we are all trained in computer science. And that's a bit rare, actually, among our peer institutions. Typically, a faculty member teaching computer science courses is trained in a different field, that perhaps mathematics, perhaps physics. But our faculty is a little bit different in that our native field, our training, our experience, our expertise is in computer science. And one result of that is that we're able to offer a wide array of elective courses that are current, topical, and we have the nimbleness to change the content of courses as technologies come to the fore. Okay. So who are we? This is our newest colleague. This is Rick Bingen. He is a Carthage graduate. He was a double major in theater. And he will be here next year for his 2nd year. And he's a terrific instructor, a terrific mentor, and he's got all that youthful energy, which, well, he's a young guy and he can do all these things, but he doesn't have a beard. And frankly, I don't have a beard now too. So I kind of lost my computer science badge when I shaved. But, oh, and look, another clean shaven, he has a beard now too. This is Professor Marc Mahoney, and his interests include computer science education and software development and engineering. And he's the old codger here. He's actually a lot younger than me, but he's the old man of the faculty. He's here for his 19th year. This is my 6th year at Carthage College. I came here from the University of Wisconsin at Madison, where I was, where I taught for 10 years. And I can't tell you what a different environment it is here, from a 40,000 student college to Carthage, which is just under 3,000 students. I can't tell you what the differences are. You know, the people who stop and say hello, people who hold doors, those sound like little things, but when you add them all together, the environment at Carthage College is kind, it's collegial, it's very effective. We give a great education if we are fortunate enough to have your learners come here. So yeah, back in 1996, I got an Academy Award for scientific and technical achievement. I invented the software used in, for example, Forrest Gump, and to make the lips move of the presidents and the handshake. And more recently, in fact, just earlier this year, the Primetime Emmy Awards for engineering. And I'll show you a little bit. In fact, I don't think I'll be able to get the sound of the video coming through to you, but I'd like to show you the video that was shown at the Emmy Awards. But the point being is that when you sit down in your chair for CS1 on that first day, there's an expression, the world is your oyster. It is literally your oyster. There's no telling where it will take you. Computer science will take you. So let me play this video.
Invented over 100 years ago, rotoscoping is a frame-by-frame animation tracing technique to reproduce lifelike movement. Since then, the term has broadened beyond hand-drawn animation to visual effects. But at its heart, the principle is the same: to trace or cut out objects or characters for isolation and compositing. Roto is now the backbone of visual effects. Enter Silhouette, a fully featured GPU-accelerated compositing system with its standout features being rotoscoping in Paint, as well as a total of 142 different visual effects nodes, all enabled for stereo 3D. Our rotoscoping innovations include a system designed for speed and a small memory footprint, allowing thousands of shapes and keyframes without impact upon performance. Silhouette also features a unique hybrid paint system that provides the speed of raster with the repeatability of vector. It's purpose-built for visual effects, including the removal of wires and rigs, tracking markers, blemishes, dirt and scratches, as well as retouching. The work of roto and paint artists is not only time-consuming, but is applied across the majority of shots in a production. For close to 15 years, Silhouette has made a contributing impact to television post-production by making these laborious tasks easier. One roto shape and one paint stroke at a time.
So there it is. I hope that that's a good example of what I mean, where this field is a field that can take you anywhere. Okay, this really wants to play again and again. Now I can throw the floor open to your questions, and I love to digress. I love to hear myself talk. Please ask me anything.
For those of you who are watching, you're welcome to drop your questions in the chat feature. But Perry, one of the first questions is, do Carthage grads go into the industry, or do they go to grad school? Do you have some examples of where they are working?
Okay, the majority of our students go into industry each year. This guy is annoying. I'm going to get rid of him. Okay. Each year we have 1 or 2 students who go on to grad school. Last year we had students who went off to British Columbia to study computer science in forestry and forest preservation. Oh, that's a great point I should make. Computer science is alone in all fields in that you can combine it with anything. It's unlike any other field. If your passion, this student's passion was forest ecology. and took his computer science degree off to grad school to combine both. This year we have a student going to UW-Madison to be a graduate student in the mathematics department. It was just a terrifically talented CS major. So the kinds of companies, so let me recap. The number of students who go on to grad school is small from our program, and the number of students who go on to industry is much higher. Most of our students prefer to stay local, and by local I mean Indiana, Illinois, Wisconsin, and Minnesota. Those students work in a lot of great companies. For example, insurance companies in both Illinois and in Minnesota. We have a number of students who went to a major customer relationship management company in Indiana. We have a number of students who go to Madison to work with Epic Systems. We have a number of students who went to a company in Milwaukee called Badger Meter that makes meters and valves for anything from the meter on the side of your house up into nuclear submarines. So our students also, but less so, go on to the major companies like the Microsofts, the Googles, and the Facebooks and the Amazons, but that is rare. Most of the time, students take jobs within the 4 states that I mentioned.
To continue with that, do any of your students end up working as a software engineer or programmer for aerospace companies such as Lockheed Martin or SpaceX?
Yes, actually. Typically, these are the double majors in physics. Each year we get a number of double majors in CS and physics. And the wonderful attribute of Carthage College is we're the host institution for the Wisconsin Space Grant Consortium. So our students here are involved in work with NASA at a deep level. Let's see, in fact, students who are CS physics double majors won the MIT Lemelson Prize this year for their work on creating a fuel gauge that works in zero gravity. I don't know if you ever thought about it before, but without gravity, it's really hard to tell how much fuel you have left in a tank, and which is kind of important. And they've been working on that here at Carthage College in conjunction with NASA for several years. Let's see, I had 2 students last year who've gone to California to work in the aerospace industry, and I'm certain that students in previous years have gone that route as well.
Great, thank you. Well, this is a great question. What is the ratio of female to male in the program?
Oh, thanks for asking, because I'm really proud of the answer. The national average of female participation at the bachelor level in computer science is 18%. I'm happy to say that right now here at Carthage, we are at 28% female participation in the majors, and among minors, 39%. So we are way, way, way above the national average. Is it high enough? No. It needs to be 50%, flat out. No bones about it. It should be 50% or higher. But we are so pleased to be able to say that we are head and shoulders above the national average. And I think it has to do with our sense of community and our sense of belonging that we try to instill both inside our department and our program and at the whole campus at Carthage College in general. We express that, for instance, with that weekly barbecue where the community comes together. And if you're there just to be with your your cohort, your colleagues, your friends, and you're not working on computer science work, that's okay. The pizza's still free. It's this sense of belonging that I believe accounts for our higher than national average ratio of females to male.
That's wonderful. What programming languages are primarily used in the classes?
Well, I have a lot of answers for that because there are a lot of languages and we have a lot of classes. The language that we begin with, the first language that we teach, is C++. Now, C++ is, some may consider to be a very demanding first language. And you know what? That's a good thing because, again, we're teaching pride of craft and excellence in craft. And by starting out learning with a language like C++, it's way, way easier to step back to a less challenging language like Java or C# or JavaScript or other languages. And rather than going from the other direction, going from something that's gentle to something that's hard is a little bit more demanding than going from something that's hard to something that's more gentle. Now, which languages do we teach? We teach quite a few. We have one course called Computer Paradigms, where the whole idea of the course, the whole basis of the course, is to learn programming languages that don't look or work at all like C++. So there you'd learn some Lisp, some Lua, some really esoteric programming languages, which are included in the curriculum just to show how wacky and far out they can be. We also have a course which is principally Java. We do assembly language for the ARM chipset because everybody has an ARM phone, ARM-equipped phone in their pockets. We learn the assembly language course, computer organization, uses the ARM chipset. And we are also looking into even more languages. There seems something that's the current events have brought out is a need for COBOL programmers. And my first programming language was COBOL. And so maybe we can introduce a course on retro computing. That's aspirational, no guarantees. But the bottom line is when you graduate with a computer science degree at Carthage, you've been exposed to a lot of languages. Oh, I should mention Python is a big one. The language called R, the language of data science, is a big one. But when you graduate from here, you've got a wide, or I should say a broad basis from which to go forward. And remember, there is no best programming language. It's the right tool for the job.
Great, thank you, Perry. So what skills are taught in the CS program related to database construction and queries? Also, what is the new language that will be taught for SaaS? Sorry, I don't speak computer science, Perry.
Well, we have a language, we have a course on database systems. The covers entity relationship diagramming and the normal forms and the SQL language. If you don't know, just 3 little letters, SQL runs the whole world. It's amazing. And the course also goes heavily into the design of databases that are modular, efficient, and extensible. The SaaS environment, I don't think that the computer science department, I'm sure that this computer science department itself doesn't address SaaS. However, our brand new data science program might. it's possible that folks in another department may address that environment.
Great.
Well, I hope I
you.
got that right, by the way, that that what you were talking about was SaaS?
Correct.
Okay, good.
Okay. Are there a lot of active research opportunities within computer science?
Well, this is a good story to tell too, because computer science is at the base of so many other fields. So if you are a major in X, chances are you're going to be limited to research opportunities in X, and that's it. With computer science, our students are in demand by researchers across the whole campus. We have students that I can think of right now who are participating in the construction of a confocal scanning something or other microscope with a researcher in the biology department. There are students who work on the space program that we have here. And there are research opportunities in the computer science department itself. But the real cool part of that story is that our students are in demand by research teams across the campus.
Great, thank you. What piece of advice would you give someone who wants to go into cybersecurity?
The cybersecurity world is so much in demand. There are the advice that I can give you. I have a lot of advice that I can give you. One is, how about this summer you start out on a certificate program in cybersecurity. There's an awful lot that you could do on a rainy day at home that would move you along in your path. Now, our courses don't cover cybersecurity too much in depth. We are in conversation with a large company in this area where they would loan us one of their professionals in cybersecurity to teach a course here. But that is not set in stone and is aspirational. So if cybersecurity is your passion, then it's possible that Carthage Computer Science Department might not be the best choice for you. But very often you'll find that the area that you begin with as a freshman, or if you have no area in mind at all, you quickly learn over time that there are other areas of computer science that are as attractive or exciting than what you had your initial thoughts in. So a piece of advice for all freshmen is to take the opportunity to experiment and learn about fields and subjects that you might not have been thinking about in the past.
Great, thank you. What type of internships have your students done?
We're really blessed to be in a corridor of a great many big companies. Students have gone to, many students have gone to internships in the Northern Illinois area for pharmaceutical companies. We have students who have taken positions at internship positions at Jockey International, which is literally a couple of miles down the road from the college. We have students who've taken internships at, I'm coming back to Badger Meter again. We also have some out of the ordinary internships. We had one student a couple of years back who had his sophomore internships at a consulting company in Hawaii. And that was really, really hard. That was very hard to be in Hawaii. So our internship program is also benefited by the professionals we have at the Aspire Center. And that program is really ramping up.
Great, thank you. Are there any current programs for cognitive sciences?
Now, we have a really extraordinary set of faculty members who study that. In fact, I would refer you to Professor Tony Barnhart, who is an accomplished magician and who uses magic in his study of cognitive science. The computer science department itself would address that with our machine learning artificial intelligence course. But it would be to really explore that area, it would be in a relationship with our faculty in other departments, plus us.
This question is about hardware and microchips. Do students learn to build basic motherboard type exercises?
Just the opposite. Well, one of the fun things that we do in computer organization is in the early weeks of the course, we get a lot of computers that have been declared obsolete by the campus, and we destroy them. We take them apart and see what's inside. Sometimes what you find inside is really cool, like the metallic material that for a spinning disk drive. And sometimes you discover that you've just destroyed a chip because you really couldn't open it. We have a course on digital electronics, and that is taught by the physics department. In that class, you will learn to assemble circuitry. We have a course in our department on the Internet of Things, where the idea is to learn how to program the microcontrollers that are showing up in devices from refrigerators and televisions and phones, of course, and everywhere else. So that is a fun course where every student is given hardware, breadboards, wires, sensors, and that's the nature of the course.
So Perry, what was your favorite movie that you were able to work on with all of your technology?
Oh, geez, there's so many. And by so many, I mean, yeah, there are so many. The software that got the Emmy for is called Silhouette. And one of the things that it does is a process called rotoscoping. Now, if you're familiar with blue screen and green screen, you know, whatever's blue behind you gets filtered away and replaced with something else. But let's say you can't do that. For example, you're like there was in the video where you're climbing a mountain, and it was not very convenient to hang a 300-foot blue curtain that was going to blow around in the mountain wind. Or maybe you're filming a helicopter, a Black Hawk helicopter that's supposed to be rising from an advanced fire base in Afghanistan, but really it's a parking lot in Burbank. So you can't really hang a screen, blue screen there. And so what rotoscoping is the compositing technique of last resort. It's the one that always works, where shapes are drawn around in an animated way around the things that you want to split from the foreground to the background. So I digress, but the reason why I digress is that process exists, works into the workflow very, very early on. And most movies have something that needs to be rotoscoped or painted. That's the other part of what Silhouette does. So if I had to ask about the favorites, you know, I'd have to say that my original invention of shape-driven warping and morphing was instrumental in two breakout films. One was Forrest Gump, the other Titanic. So in Titanic, where you see the shifting in time from present day to 1912 to present day, that was my software. The president's lips moving and Handshake in Forrest Gump. That was my software. So those two films had enormous societal impact. So I would say that from my previous life, the first company, that would be the two. And then more recently, the huge cultural phenomenon of Avatar and the Hobbit films, Lord of the Rings, etc. Those, I think, would be my favorites as well. But then there's also Harry Potter. And well, a big thing that Silhouette was used for, so is rotoscoping, were used for paint, and it's also used to turn 2D movies into 3D movies, which leads to a bit of a funny story. So I told you how my software was instrumental in creating Titanic. And then my software, it was different software, different company, my software helped turn Titanic into a 3D movie. So this is one of the biggest grossing films of all time, gave it new life. And you'd think at this point I'd get a Christmas card from Cameron, but no, I still don't get Christmas cards.
Thank you. Oh, this is a great question from Joseph. If we need any paid and or licensed software, is that provided for the students?
The campus maintains a number of site licenses for students. For example, the Office suite from Microsoft is provided to all students. Windows operating system, and of course the Linux operating system, which is free anyway, is available to all students. And apart from that, we've been pretty good at finding free stuff. For example, the Microsoft Visual Studio, which is the main heavyweight development platform for Windows, that's free. Xcode, the main heavyweight platform for Macintosh, is free. Actually, I can't think of anything that was a required purchase in the CS department. In fact, we don't have anything that people are required to have. Now, it's really terrific if you have your own laptop. Having your own laptop is these days kind of required. In the old days, like when I went to school, there was one computer on campus and laptops didn't exist. But and maybe even 20 years ago, people would go to computer labs. While we still do have computer labs, it's by no means as convenient as being able to work on your projects and your homework in the dorm room or wherever it is at home, perhaps you're residing at home. So answer is no. Now let's talk about books, textbooks. We have, by and large, shifted away from traditional textbooks, which cost $150 or more. And instead, we've used, for our introductory courses, we use books from a company called Zybooks, Z-Y-B-O-O-K-S. We do that, and in fact, a lot of major colleges now do that as well. And instead of $150, that's a $60 purchase. For my operating systems course, for example, we use one of the finest operating systems textbooks in the world. The instructor, the author, who are friends of mine and former colleagues, they make it available for free. I don't know why, it's such a great book. But once again, there's that F word again, free. Free is good.
These are wonderful questions that you guys have been asking this evening. Thank you. Please feel free, again, if you have questions, to drop them in the chat feature or the Q&A feature. So a question, Perry, about books that just came through. I have used Zybooks and I absolutely love it. C++ is taught on Zybooks. Can you name a few classes that would use them?
Here in our program, the introductory language, and I guess you'd say the primary language, is C++. So We teach Python, in which case we'd use iBook's Python book. And the C++ is used in our CS1 course. Of course, the numbers are different. Our CS1 is 1810, 1820, our CS2, 2560, which is our data structures and algorithms course. So that would be course number 1, course number 2, and course number 3. And the book is used there. C++ is used there. As you get into the upper level electives, then the languages start to branch out into more variety.
Great, thank you. Thank you, Nicole, for that question. We are available for just a few more minutes before we have to close this webinar. Dr. Perry Kivolowitz will be available if you want to reach out by individual phone call or email. You know, he's also willing to meet with you by Zoom as well. You know, Perry, how have you been interacting with your students during this remote learning?
I hope everybody takes this the right way, but you know, we're pretty awesome instructors, but working this way, some of our courses have improved, I think. Like, for example, I'm able to use my iPad as a whiteboard and present the iPad while I'm lecturing. And I found that in one course, I now have the equivalent of 150 some odd whiteboards. And I'm able to scroll back in them back in time and go over a topic in review. And I just can't do that. Can't do that in a physical classroom. And another thing is the one-on-one interaction has shot way up since we've gone to the distance learning model. And while I can't speak for every class and every instructor in the whole wide world, but I do know that our department takes this really, really seriously, and our effort as instructors has increased, not decreased, because we've moved to distance for this unfortunate period. And you know, I'm teaching the same course. I'm teaching the same course that I would have taught otherwise, and the amount of office hours, so to speak, has shot way up. So I think that we've made the transition pretty well.
Great. Question from Joseph. The web page for the CS degree mentions that you have a server room and some other interesting facilities. Can you expand on what you have available?
Which web page is that? The server facilities that we have is not that stunning. See, here's the really cool thing about server rooms is they get less impressive every year. And I'm totally serious about that. What used to take acres of floor space now is compressed into one closet. We do have a few closets of racks of computers. We operate internal to the department a very large network attached storage device that allows many terabytes of redundant storage that is safely backed up because it's redundant. But really, the servers are way less interesting than they were in 1968 from experience. So.
Awesome. Thank you. We will be available for just a few more minutes for any additional questions.
Come on, folks. I love hearing myself talk.
One question here, are there any programs free right now to get a set of ideas about what to expect for the incoming freshmen can look at it?
Could you be more specific about the what to expect? like what to expect during a normal fall term where everything is on campus, or what to expect in the uncertain future, what to expect as a freshman. So that's a really big question.
Yes, so she did elaborate. So she's looking for like free programs right now to help with, you know, a normal fall term.
Okay. What you can, there's quite a bit available for free. There is if you're on Windows, then you should consider the free version of Microsoft Visual Studio. If you're on the Macintosh, you can download Xcode for free as well. And then there are huge resources available online for introductory lessons. There are websites that give you ideas of things to work on. For example, a challenge website called hackerrank.com will it has an inexhaustible supply of problems that you can work through and earn points. There are, the internet is just full of so much. I mean, not all of it is wonderful, for sure, but some things are actually quite worthwhile. You might find some YouTube series are worthwhile. If you have access to Lynda, actually I think it's called something else now. Lynda.com was purchased by, I think, LinkedIn. And there are other courses, for example, from Coursera, which I believe do require a fee, however. The opportunity to teach oneself is certainly out there. The value of the college training in computer science really is the solid foundational base, the solid approach to rigor and method, and the getting the wisdom of people who've been doing it for decades, like me.
Well, thank you everyone for attending this evening. And thank you, Professor Kivolowitz, for your presentation. It's amazing the work that our students are doing. Mm-hmm. And so this presentation will be posted to our website here later this week. And we're also happy to get you connected with any of our faculty members across campus. But thank you for joining us this evening.
Please, I'm happy to have done this, and please, my email address is my first initial, last name, K-I-V as in Victor, O-L-O-W-I-T-Z, at Carthage edu, and I'd love to hear from you. Bye-bye.